Hi guys, Ambercraft here. Thank you for coming. If you are new to my channel, then welcome. I am a paranormal romance writer. Gods of Karina series being my current series that I'm working on. Unknown Love being the first book in the series that came out in 2019, with Unknown Family coming out sometime this year. So welcome. Welcome back. Let's get started. Now I've talked about being banned. I've talked about prejudice of the times. With this being the month of love and the month of reflection on Black history, I thought it would be appropriate this week to talk about breaking boundaries of being the first African American in everything that I could think of. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, we know publishing goes back as long as the written word. But the first African American who was published was September 1st, 1773. And that was Phyllis Wheatley with the Book of Poetry. The first African American bestseller was actually on August 1st, 1970. And that was by the wonderful Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Which I think is amazing that she was the first bestseller because that book is such a classic. Now, since we talked about banned list, the first African American person, period, to be banned was Zora Hurston. Which is weird because that was in 1937. She was banned before she even became a bestseller. And she was actually banned for her book, And Their Eyes Were Watching God. But the neat thing about her was she was also the first African American woman director. Which is cool to be the first of both. I think that is so awesome. In 1928, I think the movie was Children's Games, but she was the first African American woman to actually direct that, and I think that was really awesome. So because she transitioned from writing to film, I wanted to just keep going down that path. So because she was the first African American female director, I actually went and found the first African American male director. And I might butcher his last name, but it was Oscar Micheaux. It's M-I-C-H-E-A-U-X. I want to say it's Micheaux, but I'm not sure. Now, he was not only a director, but he was also a producer of like 45 films for, oddly enough, the Lincoln Motion Picture Company. Say that 5 times fast. And that was actually the first movie company that was owned and controlled by only African Americans. It was all Black filmmakers that owned this thing. They got together and created this company, and it was owned and directed solely by them. I don't know if it was because he was the first male African American director or not, but the actual Oscars are named that because of him, which I think is amazing. Like, as bad as the Oscars are for not giving enough credit to African Americans, it's actually named after an African American. Like, does that make sense at all? Now, it was named after him in 1929 by Margaret Herrick, and I believe that was like his niece, someone in his family. And then because of over time, the prejudice that has gone into the Oscars and how most African Americans are not actually getting their credit and their due anymore. In 2011, they actually came up with a real, R-E-E-L, Oscars that was held and named after him. And that one was actually created by Stacey Muhammad. And she did it because it was specifically for the undernamed, underthought of, very much deserved people of color in the industry, which I think is kind of bad that the Oscars were named after this amazing man, and then because of the prejudice of the times, be it, you know, last week's video, it has come into, we have to re-show what we were trying to do in the beginning, which is really sucks, but yeah. So I thought this was a really cool list, and because we talked about things being banned, Maya Angelou, and we talked about prejudice of the times, the Oscars, I thought this was just a really cool way to talk about breaking the boundaries of being first and just everybody in the society and the small genre and scope that is the creative world. And there are so many people that have been first in so many different things, but I started thinking about the first band and the first published, and it just kind of went from there. And I think it's important to know where we come from and where we started as creatives, and those who trudged through the trenches and went through the hardships to get us the things we have today. But for African Americans, it was even harder in a white man's society, and that is even true today. And so I just wanted to give this list and give homage to those who trudged through the trenches even harder and even longer today. So I hope you like this list. If you like this, make sure you give it 2 thumbs up. Haven't said that in a while. I'm not monetized, so you know, likes aren't gonna do me much, but I do like to know whether you like my content or not. So make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, so I know what other content to create. And as far as what's going on lately, I have Unknown Love available in paperback and ebook form on Amazon, and soon to be Audible sometime right before Unknown Family comes out in June and July, hopefully. And of course you can find me every Wednesday, normally here doing videos. Hopefully I don't get sick anymore to have to make makeup videos for you guys. And then Thursdays over on KaShay stream for live streams, and Sundays back here on Sunday mornings, noon, whatever time it is for you, Eastern. And we do live streams and write and have fun. So, and there are a few pop-ups every now and then. So that's all I've got for you today. Until next time, happy writing. Bye.